It's something rather wicked this way does come. I need to thank my good friend Lewis over at Ringway Manchester for giving me the heads up on these. I was literally sat down watching the television late at night and he said, buy these, they're £5. Now, it's funny that he mentions £5. You'll notice here, WALKIEs. Now that was an electrical retailer here in the UK and they've been around in the 60s and the 70s for a long time. They were finally bought out by Comet in 1989 for £8.9 million. That's what people used to do, wasn't it? Buy out the competition. And these were on sale back then. So these are probably, well, they're pre-decimalisation, as you can see here. So 99 shillings and sixpence. Now in old money, that was £5, roughly £5. And when the average weekly wage was for a person back then was about £24 to £25 a week, these work out about £100 in today's money, if you like. So about comparable with, I suppose, what you would have to pay these days. Probably a bit more, in fact. But then, you know, this was a long time ago. We're talking well over 50 years ago. So let's see what my £5 has bought me. Now, it does happen from time to time that I will occasionally get sets with batteries in them, and this one does happen to have batteries in both, which is a very good sign, because when I turn them on, we have static on the one and we have static on the other one. Excellent. Now these are rather a little bit grubby. I think we'll get some foam on these once we've taken them apart and we'll just give them a gentle scrub, but they are lovely classic sets there. I've not had these apart, I've not had these open, I've only checked that they switched on. We have a PTT button on the side, but if you look at the styling of these really are, I think these are very definitely mid-60s. They've definitely got that kind of 60s vibe going on, haven't they? Telescopic antennas in the top, and that one appears to have a plastic cap on it, and this one has got the original cap on it. Now I do actually have some button replacements for these, so I might well be able to do a replacement job on that so it looks a little bit more original. So anyway, I suppose we really need to know what they look like inside, and then we'll use the newly acquired spectrum analyzer, which I haven't shown you yet, which I got for heads up from one of my viewers. I think it was the Heli guy. And I'm going to use that to generate some signals for these. And I picked up the Tiny SA, and this isn't, I had to pay for it, but I got it from Mirfield Electronics. Very good chap there. He's the official distributor for this product in the UK. So if you are after a lovely little tiny spectrum analyzer, which I'm sure you all know about, which you can obviously use for like AM and FM sets like these for testing signals, although there are a few caveats which I will go over. So Mirfield Electronics, I said I'd give him a heads up, but I need to add I did pay for the device. I didn't get it for free. Okay, let's open these up and have a look. Now, taking the back off, we can see that these were obviously made for the American market. We've got the FCC requirements there. With they're on a channel of 27125 megacycles, with a transmitting final input of 50 milliwatts maximum. So I don't think we're going to be breaking any records with these. And certainly when you look at the transmitter itself, you can see it's a very basic indeed. What we've got there, just a couple of wound inductors and quite old looking capacitors, modulating transformer there, a couple more capacitors, some resistors and a speaker. So it couldn't get any more basic, could it, as a radio transmitter goes. Now what I will do before we do anything, we'll see if these are indeed transmitting, and for that we use the Tiny SA just to show us using that, and then we use the Tiny SA to generate a little AM signal to see if they are receiving as well. Okay, so here's the Tiny SA, our little spectrum analyzer, and at the bottom you can see that we've got our start frequency set at 27 megs and our stop frequency set at 27.2. So we'll turn on this radio and we'll key up. Now there is no volume control on these, so we'll turn on the first radio and wait to see if we pick up a signal. And there we go. We can see we have a signal now at 27.127. So we know that that's transmitting now. I have got a bit of I've got a 10 dB attenuator on the antenna because apparently these the tiny SA is a little bit sensitive. So we want to overload the front end of it or get some static discharge. Right, we'll test the other walkie-talkie now. Extend the antenna. Let's try the other one. And we're transmitting, and there we go. We're on 27.123.125. So we can see that one's off frequency. So these are going to need to be aligning. But I thought I'd show you this because there's a neat little trick that this can do. We can also get this to generate an AM tone. These sets are AM, and we can get this to generate ourselves an AM reference tone. So we can align the receive on both of these little handsets as well. There is the underside of the board. Doesn't look to have been tampered with in any way. Look at this old Bakelite type circuit board there. They don't make them like that anymore, thank goodness. Don't think you'll be getting your JLC PCBs back from there looking like that, would you? You'd be a bit disappointed. Beefy speaker cone, look at the coil on that. That's kind of decent. Japanese made speaker, Japanese made radio, as we can see there on the bottom of the set. Yes, going to do a capacitor change, clean up the switches. We'll do our usual switch cleaner in there, switch cleaner in there. We give the antenna a bit of a clean to get some of this sort of mild corrosion off of it, and use a bit of polish for that. And then we'll definitely give these cases. I mean, they have gone a little bit yellow. They're just a bit grubby. We're being really careful not to mess up that badge on the front though, so I'll be very careful with that. But there's some ingrained dirt in the sort of texture of the case there, which you can see, which I definitely would like to get out. So I shall probably gently go over that with a toothbrush, and hopefully we'll get, with the foam, we'll get most of that off. For desoldering, we're going to be using the Pine Sil BB2. I've just done a video on this if you want to check the channel out if you're in the market for a new soldering iron. I can't rate these highly enough. So hopefully this will make a total breeze of removing these old capacitors, and we shall pop some of the old ones in the meter and check them out to see how good or bad they are. But hopefully it will freshen this setup a little bit. The first one out should be 10 microfarads and it's 42.8. Oh dear. Again, another bad one. This is supposed to be 33 microfarads. Right, that's one unit done. Now on this old vintage gear, if you do ever see any old cans like that and you think, oh, it's another capacitor, you'll notice when you look closely it's actually got 3 legs, and they are actually very early transistors. They're not capacitors at all. So there was actually only 3 capacitors to change on this one. That one there, that one there, and that one there. The others are transistors. Now this would have probably been very proudly described at the time as a 3 transistor set. They were very keen on vintage sets on claiming how many transistors was in a device, because it was almost like a megapixel thing. The more transistors you had, obviously the better the equipment would be, and because it was you know, it was relatively newish technology back then, wasn't it? So I just thought I would show you that those are actually transistors, not capacitors, and shall be left. What's interesting opening the second set, you might notice that the actual circuit board is different now. They must have had a revision on the boards. You can see on this one we have the capacitor there, and on this one we have a resistor, and we have our 2 capacitors up at this end, which matches this one, but that third capacitor isn't there. There's a transistor there. So they've obviously had a change in the boards here during manufacture, and obviously that slipped into production. And unlike the other set, this one does have signs of some tampering there in the right corner. I mean, it may well be that that screw has just fallen out over the years, and it also has some signs of some kind of introduction of a substance, some black substance there. That's also got on the inside of the radio as well. Not quite sure what that is, but I'll clean that out with the spray foam a little bit later on. It may well be the contents of a battery, but I will give that a clean, taking care not to damage the labels there. So yes, although they were £5, they're certainly going to take a bit of TLC to get these refreshed, I think, but you know, this is what this channel's all about. Right, we've got a tiny SA producing the output, 27125. We've got an external minus 10 dB attenuator in there, 0.95 kilohertz AM tone. Now I mentioned that because I found when I set it for 1 kilohertz it was slightly off, so I don't know if there's some adjustment in the tiny SA we can make for that, but that's what we've done anyway. I know that 0.95 gives us 1 kilohertz, and there's our little antenna. We've just draped the lead from the SDR, so we can see our AM modulation there on the SDR. You see that there in the middle of our 2 side lobes. So we know we're getting that, and then we can hopefully then use that to align the receiver on these. I might even pop these in to the Synad meter just for fun. So we've connected up the Synad meter to the audio output of this. Let's turn it on. There we go. You can hear the, we'll just turn the speaker down. Right, we can hear that coming through on the speaker. I don't know, I think we've only got adjustment on receive, so let's see, we'll spin it over and see what we can do. Align each radio to itself, because, there you go. That's a lot better, isn't it? So that's our receive lined up. Let's just switch this Walkie off. That's our receiver, is probably as good as we can get it. Right, and there's our tone again. It's not as strong on this one. Let's see if we can bring it in. There we go. Right, let's try transmit on this to see if it's close. I could offset the other one to suit, but to be honest, it's near enough. It's near enough to not make any difference, to be honest. Not on these old sets, and I'd rather have them. I mean, the other one is definitely close enough. That one's a little bit further out than I would like, but I'm sure they're still going to work okay. Let's do the nasty one first. There we go, it's a lot better. Right, let's do the front. They look pretty grubby, don't they? So hopefully be a bit of a transformation. And today I'm using the expensive Servasol foam cleanser, so it's getting the proper Rolls-Royce treatment. Nice and white now though, isn't it? It's nice and white. I'll let that bubble away for a little bit. It gets into all the nooks and crannies, and then we'll gently give it a bit of a scrub over with this brush, see how it comes up. Wow, look at that, looks like new, doesn't it? Heads up for the spray there. It does a very nice job, albeit at quite an expensive price these days. So that one's come up really lovely with a toothbrush and a nice clean microfiber cloth. I was very careful not to get too aggressive with this shiny label here. We don't want to scratch that at all. So that has come up absolutely pristine. Really pleased with that one. Let's have a look at the other one. We've got to do the backs of the radios as well. Now the speakers are loose on both of them, and I'll pop them back in with a little bit of shoe goo, some rubberized glue. That's what I normally use on speakers. I'll pop that back in with some glue. This one's nowhere near as dirty as the other one, but nonetheless we'll give this a clean in just the same way, and we'll leave the case cleaning there. In the next shot, hopefully all 4 sides of the cases will be nice and clean, although I probably will show you the back of the really dirty one, because that one was really dirty. Everyone likes things to be shown getting from dirty to clean. I've noticed that the internet is full of lots of videos which basically are very successful just off that premise. Both back pieces are cleared up. There is a crack on the back of this one. You can see that there running across the middle, gone right down the middle. So I am going to do a repair on that with some I'm going to say Araldite, but I'm going to use Gorilla Glue epoxy and just put a runner seam of that across the back of that joint there, and hopefully that will be enough to stop that from breaking. I've just checked that this won't foul on the speaker, so we're going to actually use this washer, glue this washer into place here as a support for these cross beams here, and it doesn't hit the speaker, and it's a nice stiff plastic washer that, so it shouldn't go anywhere. Right, we just got to clean up some of the tarnish off the antenna here. It's also worth checking it with walkie-talkies that your antenna screws are tight. On the other one that was loose, so always worth tightening those. I'm going to clean the button there. So yeah, we'll do that on both sets, and then we'll reassemble them. The epoxy's almost dry now, both the speakers are in place. We've repaired the back plate, that's all fine now. That's probably going to need 24 hours to dry fully, and yeah, we're looking good for a test tomorrow. Another thing to watch out for is wherever you've got the antenna coupled directly to the PCB, look out for problems like this. You see that? So it's actually broken at the joint there, so we'll reflow that with the soldering iron and tighten up that screw again. But that's definitely something to watch out for. They get a lot of abuse, these antennas, and you know, pulled in and out. I'll just check if this one has done it as well. I don't think it has. This one looks to be okay, but I'll perhaps nonetheless just reflow the solder around that joint and then retighten the screw again, just to make sure. The new iron made small work of reflowing that as well. Just pinched up the screw, and what I'll do is I'll just put some standard thread lock on the end of both of the screws of those, and hopefully they won't come loose again. After contact cleaning the switches, I've just noticed that the switch contacts are a little bit dry, so we're going to pop a little bit of petroleum jelly just inside the switch and just under the cover there, just to keep the movement nice and free, and that's fine to use on electrical contacts. I hope you agree that these have both turned out really nice. I'm really pleased. I've just got to find a cap for the antenna on that one. I think I've got some spares lying around. I should be able to do a transplant. I've done that a few times. So yeah, really nice. I mean, amazing how well these have cleaned up. And the internet, I can find absolutely no reference to these online, apart from the original eBay listing, which they were just listed as a vintage walkie-talkie sort of thing. But I can find no, you know, you did a Google image search, no reference, nothing on them at all, not on the model number or anything. So I think these are pretty rare. I don't think you'll find as many sets of these around. So yeah, we'll just have to wait for the weather to clear, and we'll walk over to the field with Tyler and we'll give them a little range test. They're 50 milliwatts, so we're not going to be expecting great range, but I mean, that's not why we've got them. They're just lovely vintage sets. Really pleased. Right, we've brought Tyler out to do some walkie-talkie testing. Here he is with a walkie-talkie that's actually older than me, and the helicopters and the police are all up in the air for some reason. We're at our usual field out here. If you watch the channel where we do some of the testing, so you'll know this sort of field. I think the best range we got with the kids' walkie-talkies was right over there in that far corner, which is probably about 200-300 yards away. So a good sized field. These are AM sets, the 50 milliwatts, so I don't think we're going to be setting any records, but we'll do a usual test. Tyler's going to record at his end and we'll see how we get on. You can actually hear somebody on channel 14 here, look. So that's crazy, we're actually getting picking up the states on these little handhelds. Can you believe that? Unreal. We'll give it a go anyway. Can you hear me there, Ted?
Yes, I can hear you pretty well.
Okay, there is some other noise on this channel, but I'll just go a bit further up. We've got some American bleed over on here. Amazing.
Okay.
There we go. Let's move a bit further up.
Can you hear me there, Ted?
Yes, I can hear you pretty well.
Okay, there is some other noise on this channel, but I'll just go a bit further up. We've got some American bleed over on here. Amazing.
Okay.
That's incredible. Getting it annoying but incredible. Right, Tyler, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay, talk a little bit louder if you can. Go again.
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay, we'll carry on to the next bit. Cut. Still receiving them. Wow. Right, so we can hear Tyler. Hello, Tyler. Can you hear me now, Rog? I think we're struggling with the bleed over here. Hi Tyler, can you hear me now? Hi Tyler, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Give me a good shout. No, I don't think we're going to hear it. Imagine that. We got signals from America coming in, and Tyler's only over there. We can't hear him. So I think that's about the range. Hi Tyler, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can still hear you, but not as well from earlier. Yes, I can still hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Right, we'll try this now. We're quite a way away from Tyler. Hi Tyler, can you hear me now, mate?
Yes, I can still hear you, but just
Okay, I think we're on the limit of these radios now, and we've got this interference. But I think if this interference wasn't here, I think we'd easily be able to talk this distance, don't you? There we go. You see,
Yeah.
Impressive indeed. And okay, well, you can stop recording at your end now, and we'll leave it there. That's pretty amazing, isn't it, really, to think these walkie-talkies are older than me, and conditions are such that we can hear signals from the States on these old sets. So obviously we've aligned the receive nicely on these, and transmit is okay. A little bit on the quiet TX side, but that's what happens when you're using the speaker as a microphone. It's never ideal, so that's probably the reason for the low audio. But really amazed by these, and just incredible conditions we're experiencing at the moment. And so yeah, I think we'll leave it there. If you have been, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoy these walkie-talkie videos. It's something different, and I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.